Okay, folks, hope you're having a great night. This is Ben checking in about tonight's storm potential. Not set in stone that we're going to see storms. Let me say that right up front for those who may be freaking a little bit. Of course, we're getting in towards springtime. So, eventually it's going to become sort of normal to have an occasional day or night like this. But what we're seeing out there now is a quiet situation. We had some rain that moved through earlier, as you can see. It was just one little batch that has really not much of anything to do with what we saw come through earlier. Let me take you over to the bigger radar shot, and what you're going to see is more storms to the west. And obviously there's a different atmosphere here. You're talking a tornado watch here, a couple of tornado warnings, flood warning. Anywhere from Mississippi into Alabama. So just want to say right up front, they have a much more conducive atmosphere for severe weather than we do. So our threat is a lot smaller here. And I'm interested to see if it is just rain when it comes in, maybe with a little bit of a breeze. We'll see. It's not a zero storm chance, but it's on the low end. So let's take a look at the outlook for storms. And what we're seeing here is from the Storm Prediction Center, a level 3 where the storms are going on right now. You can see on the scale that's halfway up. So, I mean, that's getting there. That's a impressive environment for severe storms and tornadoes. And so that's mainly for the lower half of Alabama. As the storms continue to move this way tonight, it will drop down to a level 2 and then drop down to a level 1. So that's going from 3, 2 to 1 in the low end. So what we have here is a situation where the storms should be weakening as they come into our atmosphere. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been outside today, especially in the northern half of our area. It's been very cold. You get south of the Macon area, south of Houston County, especially on down into our southern counties. That's where we have seen some impressively warm numbers. Let's take a look at the numbers now in case you're watching this at another time. This is at 9 o'clock p.m. on February 12th, 2025. And there is a look at the current numbers. This kind of tells the story. It was a lot more dramatic earlier today. We had 30s up here, and it was 80 in McRae. It was one of the wilder maps I've seen. I've seen a lot of pretty sharp contrasted wedge air masses, but this one today was pretty amazing to see us from like 36, I think it was, in Monticello to 80. So you're talking a 44-degree spread from our northern counties to our southern counties. That's the reason why I've been saying lately the high temperature that I forecast is irrelevant. You just kind of know where you are on the map. So that's what a wedge looks like, and this is what it looks like on the big picture. And we talk about it from time to time because it has a wedge shape. So what happens is that cold air will hit the Appalachians, and it's heavy, so it'll funnel down the mountains. And sometimes it's just, kind of a little bit farther up, Athens area, something like that, but this one's is a lot farther south. So why does that matter? Well, if you're going to see storms coming in your direction, you kind of want to have a wedge in place, because then once it hits that atmosphere, it's usually going to just kind of knock it off kilter to where it doesn't have quite the same punch. Having said that, in our southern areas here, still in somewhat of a soupy air mass. So let's see a look at future view. How about Cadwell? Hold on, Betty. I'm getting there just a second, all right? So here we go. Here's a look at... Now, if you saw Alex earlier today with some of those model runs, it was showing things a little bit sooner, coming in maybe around midnight to our northwestern counties. The models have slowed it down a little bit for us now, so this is coming up in an hour. Still nowhere near. There's midnight just now kind of coming into Atlanta. And probably knocking on the door of our northwestern counties, maybe 3 in the morning, anywhere from Upson to North Monroe. Let's go forward. They're around 4 in the morning, so kind of getting more into the core. I think 4 to 5 in the morning is going to be the main time when it's kind of hitting the Macon area. When I say hitting, it may just be a heavy rain, a heavy cold rain with maybe some gusty winds. That's a possibility, because again, we're not in a high severe threat. But again, it's not zero, so we have to watch for, some gusty winds. Sometimes in these, what they call a QLCS setup here, is you'll see independent little cells. Sometimes it'll want to rotate a little bit. And I've talked about those for many years. We call them kind of whack-a-mole tornadoes, where they show up for a scan or two and then you don't see them and sometimes they're small and short-lived, but there could be a brief spin-up tornado, especially farther toward the south and west. As far as we're concerned, I don't know if all the ingredients are going to be there for that. There's around 6 in the morning, passing probably the Macon area at this point, on into our southeastern counties by the time we get into 7, 8 in the morning, 9, 10, Dublin, Eastman, places like that. McRae, probably like 10 to 11, and then that will pretty much do it from there. Let's take a look at the high-res model. Somebody said tornadoes. Maryland, not a good chance of tornadoes. It's not zero, but we're not in a high threat for that sort of stuff tonight. So we're going to watch out for it because, I mean, you know, it's possible, but it's not likely. So there's a look at the high-res model. Let's see if the timing is similar. There's 1, 2 in the morning coming into northwest counties around 3. So this the same kind of timing. Macon area there, 4 to 5. So, whoops, got away from me there. It's not overly impressive looking to me, but obviously we'll watch it anyway because it will have had a history of at least producing some bad stuff back in Alabama. That's funny, Charlie. I like that. Happy little independent cell, says Bob Ross. Let me show you the temperature map because that's relevant too. Because again, as long as this wedge is holding in place, it's a good thing for us. This model, a lot of the models have been struggling, and they do a lot with the wedge. How far south it's going to come, and bigger than that, a lot of times is how long will it hold before it, you know, erodes, as they say. So this is around midnight tonight. Let me get to here. And notice how the line's still running right through here. That warm front could lift a little bit tonight. So in other words, you could actually see the temperature go up a little bit for you. We'll see though, because the wedge is so strong, I'm not sure if this is going to get bumped out that easily. So I think it, for at least in the short term, is going to hold. The graph model tries to show it buckling a little bit here as we go into 2 or 3 in the morning, getting us into the upper 60s to near 70 by 3 or 4 in the morning. That's quite a stretch to go from the 40s to that. I mean, I guess it could happen, we'll see. But either way, the dynamics here are not the same as what's in Alabama either way. So I don't think we're going to see a big event. But again, it's not a zero event. So I love how I circle back around to hedge the bets. Let's see what we have. Rain totals, maybe a couple inches, Fred. Hey, Ben. Hey, Tay. Hello, Darlene, Audrey, good to see you. Joey, no, I assume that's a joke, so they'll probably cancel schools then. No. Nope. All right, let's go back to, I wanted to show you the tornado parameter map. Where did I put it? There it is. If you look over here, you look on the scale, low to high probability of tornadoes, all right? So you can see yellow and orange colors here. That's what's going on in Alabama right now. So just kind of keep that legend in your mind and watch as I go forward. 1, 2 in the morning. So notice how most of it stays south of the wedge, mainly here. And even then, it's somewhat on the lower end of the scale. But once again, it's not a zero chance. You don't want colors like this. That's a much higher chance of tornadic weather. That's going to get you up in a level 3, 4, or even 5 if you see that for severe threat. So, again, not zero, but not a great chance. And if we were to see anything, probably I'm thinking mainly gusty winds, and it would be in mainly our southern counties. Notice as we go forward, you can see even toward tomorrow morning, it really just kind of falls off. So I think the plan is it should be weakening as it comes in. Go back to the big picture. How windy could it get? Well, you know, I mean, if it was going to be severe, it'd be just anywhere, you know, the 50, 60 mile an hour range. I'm not sure we'll even hit that, but, you know, can't rule it out, so. But again, different type of atmosphere back here in Alabama. You see a couple of storms west of Atlanta now, which is kind of interesting because the models were showing at midnight that it would be here. I think it's talking about this main line here, maybe around midnight before it gets there. So again, the main thing shows like 3 in the morning, but if these little independent cells, renegade cells, whatever you want to call them, if they were to get going out ahead, then we could see some of that even earlier. Let's go back to our radar. Let's see, where is he? All right, so put some temperatures on there. The one that stands out is McRae at 72. Is that right? Let's see, what is it? Let's check this map here. I don't think that's updated. It shows 63 here. So, but definitely warmer. You can clearly tell where the wedge stops. All right, let's look at the bigger map here. See, they have 70s all down there. Let's go to see all these 70s down here. Just different type of dynamics involved too. So as that line gets closer, it should weaken down. Still say southern counties, maybe some gusty winds, but anywho, that's about all the information I have on it right now. It's just kind of a wait and see, but just to let you know that again, for peace of mind, this is definitely not the highest severe weather threat event I've ever seen. So it's low, but it's not zero. Jamie, any idea when our next freeze is coming? We could get down close Friday morning. Otherwise, it's going to be Sunday night into Monday morning, and we may have a couple of nights of upper 20s there. Hey, Evan, what's up? Roberta, yeah, I don't think it's... I mean, it's going to be... You're in the wedge enough that I think it... Mainly, I mean, I think there's going to be some heavy rain coming through overnight into the early morning and maybe some wind. But my gut tells me, and hopefully that's about it. There could be some rumbles in there too, obviously. Either way, we're going to be here to watch it through the overnight. Are we expecting severe winds in Dodge? And hello, it says. Hello, Chase and Joni. Severe winds, I don't know if that'll be, it could be like one cell within a line, and we don't know for sure if there's even going to be any of these. We just know there will be a line of storms or even just rain coming through. No guarantee that any one or part of that line is going to be severe. The possibility is. The likelihood of it being severe is not very great. Oh boy, here come the whatabouts. Eatonton with 5 question marks. Justin, probably 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Somewhere in there. And you're definitely far up in the wedge there. So just to show you too, to give you an idea of the Storm Prediction Center's thinking on all this. I don't remember if it was, I think the map originally went up like this. And just about 8 o'clock, they trimmed it down. So they started taking some of this down. So in other words, already the thinking is it's just not going to happen up here in this wedge. So even in our area down here, I still think the likelihood is not so great of seeing that, unless the warm front does lift a little bit tonight and all of a sudden we start to really warm up as we go through tonight. We'll see. Either way, we're in a level 1 as opposed to a 3. Is Butler and Reynolds in the wedge? Good question, Nicole. Well, for now, it is. It's a question of, let's see if I can draw on here. Let's see, what front do I have here? That's a cold, let's go warm. So let's say you got a warm front right along in here. The question is, does this thing move up as we go through tonight? Does it start to drift up like this? And then we start to bring warmer air up, and then all of a sudden the wedge is mainly for a select few in our northern counties. So far we haven't seen that, but you can see where the divide is right here. So it's just a question of whether or not this is going to slide up and start putting more people in a little more unstable atmosphere. Either way, we're not in a high threat of severe weather, but that would increase the odds if we did see the warm air mass start to take over. Again, it's really difficult. There's a lot of research done on the wedge here in Georgia because it's so tough to forecast around, because you just don't know how long is this going to hold. Is it just like a wall that's just not going to allow that warm air up, or does it start to erode and give way? Adam, jumping ahead, threat for Saturday night, Sunday morning. Looks like Sunday morning, and right now it just looks like rain, maybe a few rumbles. Okay, guys, I think that was a pretty good chat. I don't really have a whole lot of new information other than just to say we'll keep an eye on it tonight. So then the likelihood is that we'll just have a heavy, cool rain with maybe some rumbles and some gusty wind, and that should be it. Unless one or two little parts just want to kick up a little bit. But of course, we'll be here to watch that for you, as we mentioned. Whoops. Get the big picture back up there. And again, we don't have the same atmosphere or the same dynamics in play that they do back here where all this action is. It's not zero, but it will be less of a thing by the time it gets here. Still think we're going to get some pretty good rainfall out of it, though, so could get a couple inches easily in a short amount of time. Okay, guys, we'll do the 10 o'clock show on our CW channel and at 11 on the main MAZ CBS channel. And we'll talk later. Appreciate you joining me.